So you've just bought Transport Fever 2. Congratulations! You've basically bought yourself a model railway without it taking over your bedroom and scaring off your mates. But you want to know how to play the game, so this is your quick 5-minute quick start guide to playing, winning and loving Transport Fever 2. First thing to do, fire up free game and forget the campaign unless you love clicking question marks. For your first map, go with small or medium, temperate climate and easy or medium difficulty. Difficulty just changes how much you get paid per delivery. 100% for easy, dropping 20% with each step up in difficulty. So when you first load up a map in Transport Fever 2, I'm sure that passengers are tempting, but don't do passengers. In 1850, nobody's commuting yet. The railway pioneers didn't start with passenger lanes, they started with cargo. Cargo gives you a steady income and exactly what you need when money is tight, which it will be at the start of the game. Now, towns demand 6 end products, either food, bricks, fuel, tools, goods, or machines. To make these, you need the raw stuff, coal or logs, oil and grain. The best starting bets for Transport Fever 2 are coal or logs or oil, because you can fully supply 400 of those goods to the first factory with just one depot. So first we're going to select the rail tool and drop a cargo station at a raw material site, in this case crude oil. Keep it near to the factory so that it does connect, and keep it flat so you can avoid gradients because they are expensive and make your trains go slow. Then place another station at the factory, ideally a through station so you can expand later. If they're not connected, make sure you connect the road to the station so that the factory lights up when you click the station. Now we can build our rail track. We can either go in one smooth line, which will be our most expensive option, maybe not something we want to do at the start of the game, but it will be the flattest, or we can use cheaper, smaller sections to save costs. Just keep an eye on the gradient icon so your trains don't go slower than a 3-legged donkey. Next, we're going to build a depot, connect it to the line, and buy our first locomotive. In 1850, you only get one locomotive available to you in each area, and it's basically a kettle on wheels. So the number of wagons that you choose matters. Gondolas are for coal, ore and grain and stone, side stakes for logs and planks, tankers for oil. We're doing oil this time, so we'll select tankers. Aim for at least 4 wagons, but don't let the power rating drop below mediocre, or you'll find you'll crawl up hills like a snail. Select new line and set up a new line between the 2 stations, and give it a sensible name like F. Henley Oil. Naming lines might seem annoying, but you'll thank yourself later when you've got 30 lines running all across the map. Watch the train on its first run. If it's wheezing, you can cut a wagon or 2 by managing the vehicle and reconfiguring it. Soon you'll see cargo stacking up at the platform and the line rate in action. That number 34 is how much this line can shift per year. If it's lower than the factory's shipment number, it's time for more trains. We'll add a parallel track, connect it at both ends, add signals, keep them on the right side of the track, approximately 2 train lengths apart. At junctions, only signal on the approach side so trains don't block each other, and we can duplicate our trains until our line rate slightly exceeds the shipment demand. You can configure your platform to add more platforms if you find your new trains are getting a little bit stuck. Now that you've got that line set up, you should see at the factory the transport percentage climbing up, and if you look on the line, you're making a healthy profit from which you can invest in new lines. Now that we have our first line up, we can move further down the supply chain. For example, in this case, we can look to ship refined oil that we're now making to this fuel factory. Now keep in mind the fuel factory only demands 100 refined oil at first, so we don't need quite as many trains for this line. In order to get our fuel factory to demand more of our refined oil, we need to level it up. The only way to do that is to increase its production and shipment. To do that, we need to start delivering its product to a nearby town. In this case, we're going to deliver to Ilkley, which is the largest town on our map and demands 68 of our fuel. This will help Ilkley to grow. So we'll build our last cargo station nearby the town, allowing enough space for the town to grow. Connect it up. Before we get a train onto this line, we need to build a truck stop next to the station and make sure they're both connected by checking truck stop is highlighted in white when we select the cargo train station. We'll put a truck unload stop somewhere in the middle of the town where we can deliver all of our goods to where it is being demanded, in this case in the industrial sector. We can now put down a truck depot, buy some trucks, put them on a new line into town. Start off with 5 vehicles is always good for me, and we can always add more vehicles to the line when we want to increase the amount being delivered in the future. We can now buy a train to put it on the line to take the fuel to our town, which will then be picked up by the trucks to go to the consumer. Put a warehouse down at a truck stop to handle the excess goods when our train drops off and our trucks have to catch up. Now you can complete that process with other raw materials, and soon you'll have cash flowing in. Once your town is growing and you've got plenty of income coming in, it's now time for passengers. We can use the town data layer to sort by the size and find the 2 biggest towns on the map. Place stations in each town near the commercial or industrial areas to avoid pollution going into the residential zones, as this will hinder your town's growth. Connect the 2 stations up. Buy the fastest train you can, as you are now competing with other road users. Start with 3 or 4 passenger wagons, as you can always add more later, and passenger demand builds slowly, so keep running costs down early and add wagons later. To make sure that all of your townsfolk can reach your new fangled passenger line, create a bus loop to connect the rail station to all parts of town. First, we'll put a full bus station near to the train station. Build passenger stops in a loop both sides of the road around the town. Run a new line from your starting station around the town, first anti-clockwise, go back to the start and return clockwise to enable two-way travel around the town. Buy your buses for your line. As a rule of thumb, I always go for at least one per stop and set them on your new loop. Do the same at the other side to connect the second town, and you have both your towns connected to their rail stations. That should help passenger demand grow at your train station. And that's it. You've set up your first raw materials line, expanded into finished goods, and connected your first passenger route. From here, it's just rinse and repeat until you've built yourself a transport empire. If this video helped, be sure to check out my other video, 17 tips and tricks for Transport Fever 2. And if you enjoyed playing Transport Fever 2 for the first time, drop a comment with your first successful line. How did you do? Subscribe to this channel for more playthroughs and guides on how to play this and other cool tycoon games. Next time, we're going to dive deeper into how to beat Transport Fever 2 in hard mode.